Hello. So in this video, I'm going to do a bit of a crash course on forms in AttractWell. You're going to find forms under website and blog in your menu, and you're going to go to web pages and forms. When you click this, you can hit add in the upper right corner. And on any page, you can have a form. I'm going to start with a blank page just so I can show you kind of the bones of how to build it, but the same thing will apply on any templates. So just bear with me for a second as I have a blank page to build from. Now, the rule with forms is that you can only have one form per page. So if you want people to be able to opt in for multiple things on the page, that's not really going to work if you want to have an individual form for each thing. Now, I'll show you some different options for that, but one form per page is the rule, okay? So the form is built in settings. So we're going to go up to the settings for this page, and we're going to go to the leads tab. Now you have to decide if you want your form to be in a pop-up or on the page. Okay, so in this example, I'm going to show you on the page, but I'll show you how a pop-up works after. We're going to be going through all of these drop-downs and talking through these options on here. So the message to show, this works best, this box here, for pop-ups, because if you wanted something above the form on the page, you'd probably just put it on the page. You don't have to put it here. But if you want a picture or any kind of verbiage on your pop-up above the form, you would put it in this box here, and this is the heading for that box. Okay, so I'll show you that when I show you how to do a pop-up. I'll come fill these out so you can see that. But because we're building a form on the page, let's just go down to fields. So on fields here, you can see that name, email, and phone are already there. If I turn these off, they will not show up on the form. The form won't work unless you're collecting at least a name and an email, or a name or an email. I think you have to have an email in order for the form to even work. So, because it won't know how to collect that information and put it in the contact manager. It needs to know who it is. You can set if it's required or not over here. And this is where you can adjust if the label is in the box or above the box on your form. So you can kind of go through and adjust that. Now take note here that where it says name, over here, it is going to the name field of the contact manager. Okay, it's being routed to the name in the contact manager. So if you change this to phone number in the field, it's not going to work because this box is going to name. You can't change that, okay? So if you want to add phone number, look, phone number is being routed to phone, email is being routed to email. So when you're adding fields, a common mistake I see is people will put first name and then add another box that says last name, but then first name is going to actually like the full name, and then the last name would be going to email, which doesn't work. So you'll get an error on your form, basically. Your fields have to be routed to the correct spot. So you can add fields. Now you can see when I add a field, there's all these different options. So I can have a short text or a long text box, which is great for like intake forms, contact me forms, drop down lists, and pick one and pick multiple. So to create a list, you put your question here, like please pick one. And then to add the items, you go all the way over on the right here and hit edit list. And now I'm going to hit add item, and I can choose, item 1, item 2. So this is where they're going to pick from a drop down or radio buttons, depending on which field you've chosen. Now, just look over here on the right of these boxes, there's this little tag. If I click that, this opens up. I can tag them in the system based on what they've chosen. Tags are a way to organize your contacts. They don't do anything. They don't perform any actions. So the system will not say, oh, this person has a tag, I'm going to send this email. It won't do that. Tags are just for organizing, just for giving you information, creating lists in your contact manager. But if you want them tagged based on what they've chosen, you can tag them there. You can also fire up a unique campaign or automation based on what they've chosen here, which is really handy. So just keep in mind that you have those options there. So if you were going to have multiple resources that you wanted to offer on this page, you could say, please pick a resource that you want to get, and then list them here. So resource 1, resource 2, resource 3, and then the unique campaign for each of these will deliver whatever they choose. So in this sense, even though you can only have one form per page, you could offer 3 different things on this one form. In this instance, you would probably want to have the drop-down list pick one or list pick one so that they can only pick one out of the three, unless you want them to be able to pick all three. You can do that. If you'd have to choose pick multiple on that. So you can also have a file upload so that they can upload a file. So this might work for an intake form. Digital signature could work for waivers and signatures. So you can add that. I'll show you what a digital signature looks like. Let me just add another field and we'll put a signature in. Signature. And you can have just explanatory text and heading text. So that's just text only. It's not a field, but it helps you to create a nicer looking form if you want to have different sections for your form. Again, for intake, it works really well. So I'm going to show you where this form is going to go, but let's see, let me put sign here on that, and I'll put comments on this, and then you can see the form after. So then the next little drop down here is the form button. So this is going to be the button that shows up on the form. So we're going to just say what we want the button to say and the color that you want the button to be. What to do after they fill out the form. Do you want a campaign to fire off? You have to go create the campaign and then connect it here. And then an email will send. Do you want to add them to a vault? You can grant them access to a vault. You can run an automation. You can tag them. And then you can also redirect them. So you might want to redirect them to a booking link or a confirmation page. You can redirect them to a ChatGPT chatbot. Or you can just have them stay on this page and type a message in here that will pop up and it'll say, thanks for completing the form. So you have to choose all of these things so that something happens when they fill out this form. All right, so let's hit done and I'll show you how to put the form on the page because the form's not here. So when we want the form to live on the page, I can put whatever else on this page that I want. So I can add all sorts of content here, but somewhere on this page, I need to have the form tag. So when I've just added a one column section here, and in the section, I'm going to hit add, which is this green button up here, and I'm going to hit form. The form tag is literally just the word form in square brackets. Okay, it has to be in square brackets. You can only have this tag on one part of the page. You cannot have it in multiple places, but that puts the form there. Okay, so now you can see the form and you can format around it. You can add other content, whatever you want to do, but you can see that the form is there. Now, what if I wanted my form to be a pop-up? So let's go back to settings and go to leads, and I'm going to switch it to pop-up and hit done. Well, actually, I'll add that first section because I told you I would. The lead capture message here. Let's just add a picture in that. So we'll add in, let's go down and grab something like one of my ebooks. There we go. We'll grab the ChatGPT prompts ebook. Okay. You can buy these in my shop if you're interested in ChatGPT prompts. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here and I'm going to put a headline here. Get the ebook now. Okay. Now let's hit done. So you can see the form is gone. So because the form is set to appear in a pop-up, you have to have either a button or you have to go into settings and select to have it pop up when somebody scrolls past a certain part of the page or when they're about to leave the page. So let's start by having a pop-up with a button. I'll just insert a button. Then to edit the button, you just click on it and hit the pencil. Click on it and hit the pencil, and then the URL is where it goes and the text is what it says on it. So I'll just say click here to get a copy now. And then the URL for a pop-up, you want it to be #lead. And then you have to hit update to change the button. Okay, so we're going to hit done, and I will save this as a test page. You have to save it before you can view it. Give that a second. I'm going to show you what happens when you push this button. Okay, so let's hit view. And now I'm just going to push the button and you can see it pops up. So there is my heading, there's my image, and here's my form, signature, blah, 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 and submit. Now what happens when somebody fills this out, this information, all the fields on the form will be stored in their contact card, in the contact manager. limitations to the forms, it will not save anything above the form. So it's only going to save the fields. So for a contract, it will show you that they entered their name, email, phone number, anything else, and signed it, but it's not going to show you the verbiage of the contract. It's not going to give you a printable, signed copy of the contract. And some people need that for their business. They need to have the full contract with a signature on it that they can actually print off. So if you need that, this might not be a solution for you, but some people just need a record of that this person signed the contract, and that will be stored in the contact card. It'll say that they completed the form on such and such page, and you'll have the signature there. So it's totally up to you how you use it. Just note that there are some limitations. Another limitation to the forms is that it won't give you a spreadsheet of everyone who's ever answered that form. So it doesn't work well if you're doing any kind of quizzes or things like that. It's not going to give you all the results in one place, but it will store what they filled out on the contact card. So it has lots of really good uses in the system. It's just those two limitations kind of come up from time to time for different people. So that's how you use forms. Now, if you wanted to have payment with the form, let's just go back into settings and talk about a few more things you can add here. You can go to payments and hit require payment and Stripe, and then hit payment option. And now I can have a product, add it for $100, change the currency with the little drop down here. Billing, is it one time? Is it weekly, every 2 weeks, monthly, every 3, yearly, or is it a payment plan, meaning installments, right? Then you can go down to descriptions and call out. So this is where you can add basically a product description underneath it. And then you can go to tags, and you can also add a tag per when they purchase this, a campaign when they purchase this, automation. You can assign a call package to this person, assign them to a vault, max the number of sales, and have an order bump right here if you want. So you can put all of that into the form, and you're just adding a checkout here. The other thing you might want to do is, if you go back to the leads tab, is add booking. So you can see here on fields that I can have a calendar. So now I can choose a booking type or a call package, and I'll show you what this does on my page now. I've added a price and I've added booking. So I view, hitting view, and then now when I click the pop-up, so here now I've got a booking, I still have my image there, and I have a price, fill out all the fields, and the payments on the bottom. Okay, so you can have any combination of these. You can have just 1 or 2 fields here, name and email and credit card. You don't have to have a booking here. You can have just a booking. So these are all the different things you can have in a pop-up or on the page itself. And of course you can, in this instance, I wouldn't have a picture here because I have this up here, but this is how you can use forms for a multitude of different things. What the form does is going to be in the settings of the page. So that's up to you. But I hope this was helpful to at least show you how to get these different things set up on your pages in AttractWell. And please let me know if you have any questions.